Hello, we're in lesson number 6 in our Made to Create series of video lessons for our ETCW virtual year in 2020. And the next lesson we're going to do involves using warm and cool colors. And this is something artists tend to like to do, and a lot of times you will find yourselves drawn to artwork like Vincent van Gogh loved using warm and cool colors, and Gauguin. This is really opposite colors. Greens, purples, and blues are considered the cool colors, and oranges, yellows, and reds are considered the warm colors. It is about temperature and a feeling of temperature, but it's also about contrasting colors. So quite often artists will use those warm and cool colors for a striking effect in their work. So we're going to look at Jim Dine's work today because it's a simple yet provocative use of a shape we see kids use all the time, a heart. And some of you have done this with me and some of you haven't. So this is a video, again, I think it would help anyone. I still love making these hearts. You will be learning about warm and cool colors. You will be still doing washes. You will be doing some blending on the paper, wet into wet. You may do all kinds of things you learned in those first techniques. But now we're going to move into hearts using warm and cool colored paints. So let me get my video camera onto my iPad here. And this is my husband's iPad, so I'm trying to check into it, and I may not be able to do it now. Here we go. Now, we're looking right now at Jim Dine's hearts, and it's really interesting. Jim Dine has done I imagine he must have done, I want to say it's thousands of hearts, and he's an internationally renowned artist. But I'm going to show you some that really do tend to have this warm and cool feeling. These are basically the warm colors, but he spotted it with some cool images around it. Go back here for a second. Another Jim Dine, probably pastel. Let's see, here's a favorite of mine. Kind of cool colors and warm colors here, a little contrasting there. Again, on my Pinterest site, here we go, this is very subtle. Of course, the red is warm and the background is gray and blue cool. So what we've looked at are all of Jim Dine's hearts. And now we're going to talk about what we're going to do next here. Basically, the work is going to end up with this effect. It'll be a simple shape, and you will make the decision if you will do mainly warm colors in your image or cool colors in your image. And whatever you choose to do in the heart, you do the reverse on the outside. So if you do warm here, you mainly do cool here. If you do cool here, you mainly do warm here. Now I want to show you what a student did in one of my classes that they gave it to me. It's a beautiful piece. And this is where you can go with something like this. You see here you've got, I'm hoping you can see this well, because the light in here is kind of funny now. Here's a warm and cool heart with wings. It's just really lovely. And then we're also going to do these are all quick things. We're going to do a quick 6-piece Jim Dine, and it will have, I'd like you to challenge yourself to do at least, show me the complementary colors and at least 3 of the groupings. So the complementary colors are yellow and purple, blue and orange, and red and green. Now, the reason they're called the complementary colors is because, remember when you doing the color wheel and you're learning how to mix your wonderful Smith paints? Red and blue make purple. So the only primary that is not in purple is yellow, And that means they are the most contrasting pairs. They almost vibrate against each other. I don't know if you can see that right now, but that's why, like, the Lakers picked purple and yellow. The art designer intentionally did that. Here we go with red and green. Green is made of yellow and blue. The only primary color not in green is red. So I want you to think about Christmas trees. Whenever you hang a red ornament on a Christmas tree, it really stands out against all the other ornaments. It's because they're complementary colors. And finally, orange has yellow and red. The only primary color not in the secondary color orange is blue. So I'd like you to do both of these, and I'm going to walk you through the first one right now. Okay? So you want to start out with a pencil. And no kidding, I want you just to do a quick heart gesture. As a matter of fact, if it's a little bit imperfect and not symmetrical, that kind of adds to the charm of it. And I personally like to do my hearts in warm colors. I tell you, this is a project that I have done a lot, but in many variations. I'm very inspired by Jim Dine. And I try to look at artists that I really like and be inspired, but then try to make it my own. So right now, this is going to be the fun of this. I just put orange on. Now I'm going to put red, pure red in there, the warm red. I'm going to go for a deep crimson. A little. Now notice these are very transparent. This one I'm going to do is not going to be as transparent as the others as I surround that heart. And I really want you to have fun with these. And now, I got, boy, look at the pigment I got on that. I even just took it straight out of that's a little bit too much pigment, but I kind of like it. And I'm going to now do yellow in the last little bit that's left. And I might come back to this and do some glazing of other colors on top. But right now, that's where I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to use my technique that I've shown you before, which is wet paper. And I'm not going to do it for too much of a starburst, extremely wet effect. Now I'm going to make sure this is all showing. It isn't. I can see that now. I'm having a hard time monitoring my own video here. Okay, here we go. Let's make sure this works. All right, that's good. All right. So I'm going to wet my paper and move that over a little bit there. Okay. And I'm going to go in with blues. And then go in with a purple, maybe green. Just really learning to play with the paint. On the other side, I want something very different. Testing my, yes, good. Okay, I'm going to go with a purple. Then I'm going to do a wash of purple. And move it into that wet. Now I'm having a fun time with saying to myself, watercolor was meant for this transparent, it's really kind of ephemeral look. And now I will go in with just a little bit of darker colors. Almost like it's under the water. It's the Little Mermaid's heart. Okay, I really like that. Again, you might go to my Pinterest and look for other ideas from Jim Dine. And now I'm going to go in there with just pure blue. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry. Now notice I dripped some green on this. So here's our little lifting with a paper towel. And then going back in. Oops, I had a little bit of cool color in that. There we go. Okay, so once this dries, you have the option of letting it dry and painting on top of it again. I did that a little bit here, I think. And then the last step I did was outlining it in black. I really like the outline in black, and I use black watercolor. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to have you wait for this to dry with me. I'm going to use black out of my cake watercolor, and look at the blooming that's happening. I love this. Actually, there's a little black there that I kind of like, but let me pick that up. I could have liked it though, I think. I'm going to go in there with black, and I'm going to outline. Whoa, there we go. And if you stir your black darker, it'll be almost like India ink. There we go. Now, why is it blooming? Because it's not dry. So if you want yours to be more like this, or, now obviously, this person drew theirs on, used no black, did really lots of light, drew their wings around their heart, added these feathers with a very watery watercolor. It's almost like the wings are transparent. And then did the cool colors and these rounded strokes that were wet into wet. I want you to have fun. Then I'd like to suggest that you go on and try a 6-panel. And all I did was to draw a line across the middle, divide that into thirds, draw 6 hearts, and have at it, because it's really fun to do that. Okay, this lesson is on warm and cool colors and learning some purposes of using the complementary colors, purple and yellow, red and green, and blue and orange. And we'll see you at the next lesson.